Alrighty, here we go. So, what we're going to be getting into for this assignment is learning how to morph two different objects. So we're actually going to take the Suzanne head, it's the little monkey head that is built in right about here, and we're going to take that Suzanne head here, and it's kind of the unofficial mascot of Blender, and we're going to actually have it morph and mutate, but the computer is going to be doing the animation for us, so it will interpolate how we're going to change all these different facets, these different edges into a cube and back again. And it doesn't even need to be a cube if you don't want it to. You could have it transform into any of these meshes if you choose. You can also have it transform its color. There's lots of different directions that we can go. But I'm going to give you just the basics, and then that way you can choose to transform it however you want. So first things first, let's go ahead and start off. All right, so the very first thing we need to do is to take this cube that we have and we want to transform it ourselves automatically into a sphere. Now, the easiest way to do that is to add what's called a subsurface modifier. Now, we could go up and add a modifier this way, and that would be fine. We could come down to subsurface, but it's much, much easier if you just select your cube in object mode. If you select your cube and on your keyboard, click Control and then the number 3, and it will automatically add that subsurface modifier to your cube. And what that does is it basically constricts the cube. It rounds every little tiny edge so that we end up with this kind of golf ball style sphere. Okay, now that we have this, you'll notice that our modifier here is just kind of floating. So I want to actually click this little drop arrow right here. It's next to a little tiny camera icon. And I want to be able to apply this modifier, because if you don't apply it, we aren't going to be able to actually manipulate this sphere golf ball at all, right? So we're going to apply it. Notice that the modifier disappears because now it is permanently molded into this spherical shape. Okay, now we want to pick something that is an interesting shape that we can morph into. So what we're going to do is go up to Add, up at the top, Mesh, and then we're going to come down. I'm going to grab the monkey head because I think that's pretty interesting, but you can have it transform into anything if you want to, really. So now that we've got our monkey here, and we're going to treat this as kind of our second icon. So we've got two different meshes, two different objects, a sphere and the monkey, and they're directly overlapped. If for some reason it's a little too confusing, you can always click the little eyeball over here in the top right, and that makes it invisible just for a mere moment. Okay. Now make sure you have the monkey, Suzanne is her name, make sure that she is selected, and again we're going to want to use a hotkey so that we can transform this mesh a little bit. Alright, so what we're going to do is then add a hotkey. So we need to click again Control and the number 3, and that adds another subsurface modifier. You'll notice the monkey head now looks a lot smoother than before. Again, I'll click the little eyeball so you can see. Look how smooth that looks, right? That subsurface modifier really does a lot of work for us. So again, I want to apply it. Drop down a little window here in the bottom right and click Apply. And this way, it is perfectly locked in. So we don't see those little facets, those edges like we did before. Okay, so I've got a cube that's actually a sphere, and I've got a monkey head that's nice, smooth, and rounded. Okay, now what we need to do is to duplicate our monkey head. So I'm going to select Suzanne, make sure that she's highlighted there. And again, a hotkey, I'm going to press the Shift key. Okay, I'm pressing the Shift key. I'm also pressing the letter D. D is in dog. And that will duplicate the monkey head. Now, what we want to do is to duplicate the monkey out of the way. So we'll need that later on, but it doesn't exactly matter where we place it. So notice that it's kind of stuck to your mouse. So I'm just going to kind of place it adjacent over here, like so. And again, I'm going to click the little eyeball because we don't need it right now. So we'll come back to that monkey head later on. So we've closed off that eyeball, and that looks good. He's now invisible. We're going to grab the original Suzanne, the original monkey head, and we're going to add another modifier. So over here, again, it's the icon, the properties icon that has a little purple wrench. I'm going to click down this little drop-down menu, and we're looking for shrink wrap. Okay? Just like you're wrapping up some plastic wrap on last night's leftovers, we want to add a shrink wrap. And this shrink wrap is going to be the facet that allows us to kind of glue or morph these objects together. And it's located in the third column underneath deform, because we are deforming the monkey head, and right about in the middle here, shrink wrap. Okay. Now we've got lots of different options. I'm going to move this over so that we can see. We've got lots of different options that we can manipulate our new object. So here's what we need to do. we're going to click on right here in the middle. It says target. Now I could grab the word cube here, and that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to turn this eyeball. So we need to grab that cube, or if I wanted to, I could manually do it by clicking on the little eyedropper and physically coming over to cube. And you'll notice that once I do that, it looks like Suzanne is gone, but what's actually happened is it's gotten morphed, it's gotten mushed around into the actual cube, which is actually more of a sphere. So what we've done is kind of taken the monkey head and, just like a piece of plastic wrap, wrapped it around this spherical cube shape thing, right? So now that we've got that, we need to apply it in the same way. Little drop down window and click apply. So we've got a sphere, we've got a little Suzanne here, which is now a sphere itself. And remember that we have the original monkey head as well over here. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to shift, and we actually went to delete the original cube. We don't need this anymore. Now you could delete it in the actual animation here. I've just grabbed the cube, or what is now this golf ball shape. I can delete it that way. That works plenty fine. You can always hit the X key and hit delete. That's fine. Or you can always delete it in this upper right-hand corner as well. So we've got the Suzanne, which is now a stretched kind of sphere shaped thing. And then we have our original Suzanne still sitting off on the side. All right. Now, what we want to do is hold down the Shift key and select the shrink-wrapped monkey head over here. So we've got our monkey. We want to hold down the Shift key. Okay. Now we want to click on our Object Data Properties icon, which is over in our Properties menu. So we want to find the Object Data Properties, which is going to be this green one down here, right? Now that gives us a whole bunch of different options. You'll notice that whichever object you select, it also changes over here. So you can always switch that out if you need to. So we have the original Suzanne head, which is now wrapped around this sphere. We're in our Object Data Properties menu. And we want to see an empty box here named Shape Keys. It's the one right here in the middle. If it's already closed, you can just click on it and it'll drop down for you. In Shape Keys, you'll notice that there's a drop-down menu in the bottom right where we can actually choose to join as shapes from the list. So let's see. Bottom right, come over here and join as shapes. So holding down Shift and grabbing both objects, I can now join those as a single shape. So both are in here, the original and the Suzanne head. Okay, so now that those are on there, we're going to click on the word Suzanne. That's the original one right there. And you'll notice that you have new options here. We have the value, the range minimum, range maximum, vertex group or vertices group, and the relative, which is relative to basis. Now, the basis is the new monkey head that we've made. But if I adjust the value, I'm just going to click in here and drag back and forth. Notice how that original monkey head begins to morph. This is the magic that we've created, right? That I can transform from one value to another just like that. So I know it's possible, but now we want to connect this ability to our timeline, right? This is the thing that allows us to have animation. So all we need to do is set a few keyframes in our timeline editor, and then we're going to be able to have this animation come to life. Now, the way we can do that very simply is, you'll notice that there's a little tiny dot here next to value. If I click on that, I get a diamond shape. I also get a keyframe right there. It's a way of setting a keyframe. So at frame 0, or frame 1 if you prefer there, we've got our monkey head. Let's just scooch that over. So there's our monkey head. And then let's say by frame, I don't know, 40, we want it to change its value. I'm going to raise that value up just like so. Cool. So I now want to set a new keyframe. I'm clicking that little empty diamond, filling it up, and I get, oops, get out of there. I get from frame 0 to frame 40, and it's animating for me. Let's say by frame, I don't know, 80, we can have it morph back again, click the diamond, fill it in, and there you go, guys. It goes from one to the other. That's it. That is a morph. Now imagine, just for a second, if this sphere that we originally made, what if it had, I don't know, a material on it, right? What if we gave it a particular color? Could we change the way that it looks? There's lots of different directions that you can take this morphing process, not just one object into another, but what happens if it changes from one object to another, and what if we change the color of that object, right? Now all of a sudden we can get something that looks significantly different than it did before, because we're going to morph and change how these objects work, right? So be creative. You can do just this simple follow along tutorial, or you can make this completely your own. When you're done, feel free to render the video, and or you can always just save your Blender file and submit that. That's fine. If you don't like the original Suzanne head that's now a sphere off on the side, we can just turn that off with our little eyeball. It does need to be in the scene because it has to reference, but you just click that eyeball and it's like it was never there, and the animation will still work just fine. Okay? All right, all the best, everyone. Thanks very much. We'll see you around.